We're in turbulent times, to put it mildly. And I've been thinking about this and read several articles on this, and I'm going to just simply, instead of referencing an article, I'm just going to reference what I've been pulling from what I've been reading about these times in which we live, where it feels like people being people, and I'm talking about the negative side of people, has become more and more obvious, and the light is being shown on bad behavior. And I think this is good. But I want to talk about this idea of how do you deal with bad behavior at work? Because we get calls every day, it feels like, where there's a toxic environment. And many times this toxicity is just around gossip and bad bullying type nasty behavior. We don't get a ton of calls on the darker side of these things. Racism, inappropriate sexual behavior. We always think of gossip, and that's kind of the one we're more comfortable talking about, but we're not as comfortable talking about what do you do when you're in a work environment and abuse, racism, inappropriate sexual behavior is happening. And you feel as though this shouldn't be happening, yes, but I feel powerless to change it. I want to address this because I think that you do have more power than you realize. And if you're asking yourself, is it worth speaking up? I think the answer is yes, but I think there's a way to do it. Because I think most of us fear career, psychological, social harm if we speak up. And so while we know we should say something and something must be done and it's not okay, there is a very natural fear to speaking up because you don't want to harm your income and ultimately harm your family. And so it puts us in this prison. So I want to address what I think you should be doing in any of these negative situations. Number one, I don't believe you should speak out alone. I don't think you should act alone. I just think we live in an environment now where there is just he said, she said, and anybody who's guilty can challenge your character, and that will further discourage you from going further if you were to go one-on-one to that person. Now, you certainly can do that if you like. But I just believe in the environment we are now, where we stand in 2020, that the best thing to do is have a collective of people that agree that, number one, they've seen the harmful behavior. Number two, harmful behavior is not okay and should stop. And number three, they'll stand with you and take it to leadership. So I think you get a collective, a group, a community, whether it's 2 people, 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, who are in agreement. And I don't think it should be a crusade. I just think it should be a community of people who say, this has got to stop. We all witness it. We're stand together on this. And it's the idea that if I take a stick or I take this pencil right here, I could snap this pencil right here in 2. But you give me 3 or 4 pencils and I can't snap them. 10 pencils, no chance. So I think there's power in the collective, the community approach, no matter how small the community. That's the first thing. Take it to the leadership. Let leadership know this is a problem. And we are not here to embarrass you or the company. We are not here to attack and lay blame. We are here to say, this is happening. It must stop. And the process to stop it must begin now. Now, whether leadership is healthy or not, that's going to get their attention. And I think when you do it in a community way and you document it, by the way, so this isn't just we're all of one voice. We've got evidence, we've cited evidence, and we want this to stop, and we are willing to work with you to help it stop. But we need you as leadership to address this problem. The evidence is overwhelming and it is documented and we present it to you. I really think that's the best way to go about it. Because there is strength in numbers. You say, well, Ken, I've tried this, or if I try this, I may not get as many people to go along with me. Well, I believe you can if you do it in a way where everybody is united. But that's your only option, to try to see change happen in a constructive way that does not put you in danger. Now, if they fire all 10 of you, well, look, you know what? That's part of the risk. I'm not going to say that this is a risk-free idea. But you stand the best chance of seeing change happen and protecting your livelihood, or at least creating an environment where you're not ostracized and shunned by doing it that way. But I see a collective fear in this country that I've never seen before in my life. There's a fear of just standing up for what you believe is right. Doesn't have to be violent. Doesn't have to be judgmental. But you got to stand. Now, we see a lot of people getting a lot of press at standing up for what they believe in. But collectively, I see it in leadership, in the political circle. I see it in business. I see it in the church space, where leaders are afraid to say what they believe and stand for something. And you, the worker, it's very difficult for you. It is intimidating, and it is legit scariness. But if you do it this way, and you have unity, and it's a group of people, and you do it the right way behind the scenes, and honor the leaders to the best of your ability, give them a chance to do what's right. And if they don't do what's right, then you got to get out anyway. Because if they don't make the changes, it may not happen. And if you want to go directly to the person who is doing the wrong, before you go to leadership, I'm fine with that. That's biblical. But I still think you do it in a group. There is strength in numbers. And that's what I want you to take away. Because this stuff is important. And you shouldn't be afraid.